A law passed in Ghana a couple of years back could be a total game changer for its economy and for healthcare. But everything's stalled, and that delay has created this massive, high stakes problem for the whole country. So let's get into it. But we're not going to start with politics. We're going to start with a personal story.
Yeah, to really wrap our heads around what's at stake, we need to meet someone. Her name is Abena. She's a 35-year-old marketing specialist living in Accra, and her personal experience with chronic pain, it's right at the center of this whole national conversation.
So, for the last 10 years, Abena has been using marijuana to deal with some really severe back pain. And she says, look, it just works faster and better than a lot of other things out there. We're talking relief in a matter of minutes. But, her choice isn't just about what works best. It's also about the money. And this right here, this really spells out the financial reality she's up against. The alternative painkiller, naproxen sodium, would set her back a whopping 1,300 Ghanaian cedis every single month. Marijuana, on the other hand, just 300 cedis. I mean, that's more than 4 times cheaper for something that she says actually works better for her. So, this all leads to a pretty big question, right? If cannabis can offer a cheaper, more effective solution for people like Abena, why in the world isn't the government pushing forward with a legal plan that could help the whole country? Okay, let's get really specific about what this law actually says. The 2023 amendment, it does not legalize recreational use. What it does is allow for growing cannabis with very low THC. We're talking less than 0.3%. So think of industrial hemp, the kind that doesn't get you high. This is strictly for industrial and medicinal stuff. And here is where we get to the heart of the problem. The law is technically on the books, but it's just sitting there. It's not in action. No system has been set up, not a single license has been handed out. It's a total standstill. And believe me, this delay has a very, very real cost.
So check this out. While the government is dragging its feet, it's not just missing out on money it could be making. No, it's worse. The authorities are actively destroying what could be a huge source of income for the country.
Just look at that number. 68 million cedis. That's how much cannabis has been destroyed by the authorities in just a few short years. That's potential tax revenue, jobs, economic growth, literally going up in smoke. Okay, now let's talk about just how big of an opportunity Ghana is leaving on the table here. And we're not talking about a little bit of extra cash. We are talking about something that could be a massive economic game changer. Let's look at a real-world example to see what's possible. Take the U.S. state of Colorado. In less than 10 years, they generated over $2.3 billion in tax revenue from legal cannabis. Now compare that to Ghana's revenue from the same industry. 0. A big goose egg. And this isn't just happening in the U.S. Over in Europe, Germany thinks its own reforms could bring in almost 5 billion euros every single year. Now, think about Ghana's economy, which was struggling so much it recently needed a $3 billion bailout from the IMF. This kind of money isn't just helpful, it's potentially transformative. But it's not just about tax money for the government. Think about what this means for regular people. There's this guy in New York, Cos Marte. He's a former convict who started a legal cannabis business, and now it's a $12 million a year company. Legalization opens up brand new doors for entrepreneurs. And creating those kinds of opportunities could not be more critical for Ghana right now. You've got almost 15% of the country's youth unemployed. A whole new legal industry in farming, marketing, sales, you name it, could create thousands and thousands of badly needed jobs. Okay, but to be fair, we can't just talk about all the economic upsides. To get the full picture, we absolutely have to look at the potential downsides and the health risks that come with cannabis. And let's go right back to Abena for a moment. Yeah, she calls it a miracle drug for her pain, but she's also brutally honest about the negative side effects. She's had to deal with an eating disorder because of the munchies, and she talks about a drowsiness that really messes with her ability to get things done. Her experience really points to some of the well-known risks. You've got that zombie mode of drowsiness she mentioned, and studies also show that some people can develop what's called cannabis use disorder, which is a type of dependency. So what this all means is that any kind of legalization has to come with a serious investment in public education on how to use it responsibly. So you've got this billion-dollar opportunity on one hand, and these very real health risks on the other. When you put it all together, where does that leave Ghana? What's the way out of this stalemate? Well, public opinion might give us a hint. Look, recreational use, a lot of people still aren't on board with that. But this poll shows that almost 3/4 of Ghanaians are okay with making cannabis products available for medical reasons, through hospitals and pharmacies. So there's definitely strong support for a controlled medical system. And it looks like the government might be listening. At least that's what they're saying. The Minister of the Interior has gone on the record and promised to fast track this whole thing without delay. The real question, of course, is whether those words will finally turn into actual action.
And that really brings us to the bottom line, doesn't it? The potential here is just undeniable. A regulated industry could bring huge economic relief to the country and new healthcare options for people. But the clock is ticking, and that potential revenue is literally being set on fire. The choice is Ghana's. So the question is, will it finally cash in on its green gold, or will it just keep leaving all that money on the table?